But yeah, let's move on to this last topic, y'all. So I think we've been waiting to get to this one. The slap heard around the world that everybody saw. Man.
Ain't nobody see that.
Will Smith. Will Smith versus.
You didn't see it because the head moved too fast.
Right. It was fast. It was super fast. I was like, man, is he like boxing?
He played Muhammad Ali.
He did.
Well, you know what happened. He took that road too far, and then he thought about when him and the little boy couldn't get nothing to eat, and all just built up, and then he just.
Oh, he took my little boy.
Oh, 7 pounds.
Pursuit happiness.
Happiness.
Chris Rock, take that whole slap. He was just like, bam.
I thought it was fake. I didn't think it was real at first.
Now, hold on. Now, Reverend, let me ask you this, because the Bible says to turn the other cheek.
Chris turned the other cheek already.
That's what the Bible said, don't it?
Man, I may have to turn all the way around and get up again, because I ain't gonna take it to be there.
Let me ask y'all this. I'm gonna name some people to see if Will would have went and did that to them. Okay, let's name the kings of comedy. Bernie Mac.
Oh no.
D.L. Hughley.
Nope.
Cedric from St. Louis.
I think D.L. Hughley would have took the slap, but he wouldn't talk mad stuff.
You're right. He would have. He would have
talked. Cleveland's very own Steve Harvey.
No, he wouldn't have did Steve Harvey like that.
Okay, let's name another rapper.
I will say this: Steve Harvey wouldn't have made that joke either.
No, Steve wouldn't have said nothing about Jay like that.
Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, both when they made that joke.
Bernie Mac either.
Yeah. Bernie Mac either. D.L. made it.
So
that's a part of his act, is to talk about people. That's been him since he was beginning of his comedy career.
And I don't think Chris Rock was wrong. I think Chris Rock made a joke that was an okay joke. G.I. Jane's an old movie. Several people, you had to tell several people who G.I. Jane was.
Right. And if you think about it, G.I. Jane was a hero and it was an inspiration for women, to do something that was impossible.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. Look up Tiffany Haddish interview. She was like, a lot of people was also, when they used to use G.I. Jane as a way to call somebody like gay or or be derogatory, saying that they look like a man.
Yeah.
So depending on how you meant it, and not even how you meant it, because he may not meant it, like he may have meant it just like the movie, in which, not gonna lie, let's be honest, her hair was cut just like G.I. Jane. If we're gonna be honest, like they did side by side, and them haircuts was exactly the same.
Right. And honestly, that was what the joke was about.
That was what the joke was. But I think the other thing is that slap was not about just that joke. That slap was for everything him and her was going through.
Yeah, they've been putting their business out here on the street these last few months, and it seemed like everyone, Will has said this, Jada has said this.
He had enough. When he went to do his acceptance speech, he said, you can only take so much. Mm-hmm. And that's what that was. Chris Rock's face was the face of the entire world.
Right.
He was telling them slap and telling them to shut the F up. That's exactly what that was.
And that was his way. 2016, Chris Rock had talked about him then. Because they didn't show up.
But even that joke was funny. He was like, nobody.
It was fun, and I don't even like
because that was because I guess Will didn't get nominated for something, and she wanted to boycott it.
It was for,
and so that's what that joke was about. And that joke had nothing. He didn't say anything about her hair. That was just about.
I don't think that was directed. It was like, I don't think he thought about 2016. It's like, oh, you said this 2016, you're saying this now. No, I honestly think it was about everything that's been in their relationship out in the public. I think all of the stuff, Will Smith has been very good at tailoring his public image. He's been very good. And if you've noticed, every vulnerable moment he has had in the past year or two has been because of stuff with Jada. Because
that red table talk.
He sat there and emasculated that man on national TV and talked about
I don't think he wanted to come out and talk about August. But I think once it had gotten out there that something was going on, he felt like, because you can tell, if I'm not mistaken, it was like late at night and it was like, oh, we have to talk about this because of this. And so he had to come out there. And if you looked at his face, it was like, you got me out here doing this. And we know that Will is out there probably sleep with women doing whatever he's doing. But the difference is that his mess ain't getting out there. Nobody know is Will Smith going out there. So you got him looking at her, you got memes being made after her, you got all this stuff, and they're talking about all this, him being emasculated.
Right.
And I've seen women post about this, that, you know, like Jada, like, has put him through the ringer, and now he has to go out there and go make a fool in her name,
just to make himself make her look good in front of her.
Yeah, and she's not doing the same thing for him.
Nope.
She's not going out there and doing that stuff on the same level for him.
So just a few weeks ago, I think it was Gayle King asked him about the infidelity, and he's like, "There has not been any infidelity." I'm pretty sure we were all like,
and how is that not? Because, like I said, Jada was the one who manipulated both of them. Right. Because the only reason why anybody know about it because August went on a radio show and said that he was in love with her. Yeah. Because she was the one that manipulated both of them.
Here's what I think really happened. So I think that they were going through a spot in their marriage, and that they were like on a break, and she slept with August during that time. He probably slept with somebody too. He kind of knew about it. He wasn't good with it, and so the deal was that it wasn't supposed to come out. Nobody was supposed to know. It was a form of something that he probably don't like to think about, because no man likes to think about their woman with anybody else. And then not to mention, Will Smith already had insecurities anyway behind him and Tupac. That's just the truth of the matter. And I think he's never felt fully like Jada's there all the way. He's always said he built that house in Calabasas, $20 million mansion. He said he built that for her. And I think everything about their relationship has been him trying to feel some type of insecurity. And I think that slap was just as much about him being insecure about their relationship because of what happened. And then when August goes out and says this stuff, it puts him in a position where now I have to respond publicly because this thing
wasn't they like a father son or mentor relationship?
He was friends because he's friends
with his son.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
He was coming over to the house. He was coming out of the house, seeing his son and seeing his wife.
And then August going like, "Mama looking pretty good on him."
Yeah,
he was going to go play with Jaden and Jada.
And see, so I think it was all that. But see, like, here's the thing. This is my opinion. I think Will would have won the whole thing if he didn't slap and he just heckled him and say, "Keep my wife's name out your MFML."
Well, he had already won because anytime at those awards, that's all that was done.
You heard the crowd go, "Ooh," and if Will said that from the crowd and then had this speech, everybody would have been like, Will was in the right. He was just defending Jada.
Or look at it like this. What if Will would have walked up there and put his arm around Chris? He said, look, man, didn't you do a documentary on hair for Black women? And you trying to poke fun at my wife? That's not cool, man.
He could have done that during his speech. He could have hit Chris so hard, it would have been like, oh my God, without touching him.
Right, exactly.
But the minute that he decided to touch him, the minute that he decided to put his hands on him, then you lose at least 50% of the crowd. Now, truth be told, it's a ton of people that say Will was in the right.
But the thing is, that was assault.
Huh?
That was assault.
Yeah.
It was assault.
He should have been arrested.
He should. The night it happened, right after it happened, I told my wife was looking at it, I was like, he wrong. He wrong.
He didn't get removed from the award show or nothing.
And you know what, Mildred? It's funny you just said that because they just put out today, they asked him to leave. Now I thought, and he refused to leave. I just thought, why y'all gonna put that out now? Why didn't y'all say that on Sunday when the whole thing on Monday morning? You wait because you trying to cover the Academy, they trying to cover they behind because they like people saying we want something done about all this.
They wasn't talking about taking the award from and the whole night.
They're not gonna do that.
The whole deal is, I think it's a chance. I think it's a chance that if they feel like it's enough pressure. But what it is that it's 50-50. It's a 50-50, half people for it, half people against it. And what it is, he got up there and made that speech. Because somebody said it looked bad for everybody to give him a standing ovation.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that was just weird for him. It's like they totally forgot what just happened.
No, I think they knew what happened. But I'm gonna be honest. What it was is that his speech. You listen to what he said. He says, "They say we supposed to take all of this. We're supposed to take the jokes, the public ridicule. That because we celebrities, it's a part of the game." Basically, is what he said. He's like, I'm just tired of it. And I think a bunch of people in that audience,
they felt what he was saying.
Same way that he did. They may not go to slap Chris Rock, but I guarantee you, everybody in that crowd, at least at one point, has been in that position and thought about slapping somebody. I mean, how many times have we gotten made fun of just in front of people? And man, if we could have slapped the mess out of somebody, we would have. Now we may not acted upon it, but we felt it. So I think they had that in the back of their mind, and they stood for him because they felt the way that he felt. They felt the way that he felt, and there's several people that got up there and said, "No, I'm not gonna take it." And then you throw in the fact that she has alopecia on top of that. And there's a ton of Black women. My wife, my grandmother. My wife's grandmother said that no, Chris Rock deserved that slap. Said he did it publicly. We're gonna have this conversation. We're gonna handle it publicly. Like a whole bunch of Black women felt that way.
But another thing you got to think about what was taken away. First, his speech. No, second, the first person who I thought about once I figured, oh, that was real. I thought about Will Packer, because Will Packer produced it and had a all-Black production cast. Now, everybody keeps saying Will Packer's the first. That's not true. It was another brother that produced it, and Quincy Jones has once produced the Oscars. But this is the first time that you've seen an all-Black production cast. Second person I thought about was Questlove, because
he got covered up.
That he was up there presenting was the documentary, which was a very good documentary that Questlove did. I mean, now you don't even hardly think about Questlove because of the slap. Then all of a sudden, Will wins, and the shine taken away from that because Negro, you just got the man.
It overshadowed. It overshadowed the goodness.
Was overshadowed.
But you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Will recovers. Here's the reason why. Will Smith is the nicest one, has always been known as one of the nicest people in Hollywood. Nobody has ever complained about working with Will Smith. Nobody's ever said anything. And he's gonna go on an apology tour. Chris Rock, he's gonna make up with Chris Rock Chris Rock.
He's already apologized, and Chris Rock has already they both have put out apologies out.
Well, hey, they both gonna benefit. Chris Rock is.
Oh yeah, you see how much the people put up?
I cannot wait to see this comedy special.
Yeah.
That Chris Rock is about to put out. It's gonna be fire.
The cheapest seats were once like I think the cheapest seats were like $40-something. Now they are like $400-something since this happened. So this, especially this tour he gonna do with Kevin Hart. Oh my God!
Oh my God! So then, not to mention, see, here's the reason why I honestly think that the slap is gonna backfire anyway, because when you do stuff like that, comedians stand for comedians. So there's gonna Will Smith.
Oh, the jokes are coming.
The jokes are coming, not just from Chris Rock, but from every single comedian.
Ricky Smiley said something. Steve Harvey, but on the radio show,
Cedric said something already.
Because I think
like, I slap back. I'm a back slapper. Y'all come up on stage. I'm slapping back.
So everybody gonna say stuff. Everybody gonna say stuff because one, especially black comedians don't want that energy with their audience. Or what is it? What's that boy name from 85 South?
Which one, Carlos or
Carlos?
The skinny one.
Young Fly.
DC Young Fly.
He hit somebody with a microphone stand when they had to try to rush the stage. He came on stage, he hit somebody with a microphone. No, he gave him he punched him, he knocked him out. Either way it go. So I'm just saying, like, now the joke towards Will is coming. What's going to happen is Will's going to go on an apology. He's going to say this whole thing about his mental health. He's going to talk about the space that he was in, and people are going to forgive him. It's going to take a couple of months, and people and it's just going to become a thing. He's going to see the memes, 6 months and stuff like that. He's still going to get another movie. He's still going to work with comedians. And he's going to get somebody that's going to be willing to work with Will Smith, because let's face it, if you own a Will Smith production, you know you're getting paid.
You'll get paid, yeah.
Right.
And the movie will go up.
Look, even Kev on stage was worked on a Will Smith production, was like, hey, listen, I ain't going to say nothing about him.
Yeah.
I don't think, and people, because the female comedians, a lot of them, not the white ones, but the black female comedians, I think they sticking beside him. And so I think, he apologized. He's gonna do everything he needs to do, and everything's gonna be okay. Yeah. So I think more white people got a problem with it, honestly, than the whole black community.
Oh yeah.
The black community understand it though.
I remember we talked about it on one of our previous shows. Like, comedians were just fighting for not be censored, and Will was a part of that fight. The whole Dave Chappelle thing. They were fighting about not being censored, and so that's the whole thing about comedians. That's their job, and they don't want to be censored. So you would think that Will, being a fellow comedian, now he's a big time actor, but his originality was comedy, comedy, a comedian actor,
a rapper,
yeah. But I mean, he fell into the
sitcom,
right. He made jokes all day, every day on his show. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, he talked about Uncle Phil and the folks in Carlton all the time, So I mean,
that's black. Honestly, that's black comedy, is just to do that. But somebody made a good point. Says you can say whatever you want, but you can't. But you also have to deal with the consequence of whatever you say. So them jokes can come as long as you're willing to understand that whatever jokes you gotta be willing to deal with the consequences. Because how many times, listen, I love comedy, but comedians will tell you real quick, there's certain jokes that you can't tell in certain places. Mm-hmm. And certain people will tell you, don't mess with that man there, because that man there will kill you. And they're like, oh, yes, I'm not going to make you.
Godfrey, I went to his show not too long ago at the Improv, and he had to go do a show in Russia. and they had like a 3-hour sit down with him, telling him, "Can't talk about this. Don't say. Don't." He said, "Don't even fix your lips to make it seem like you finna say something about Putin. You will be in jail."
So, like, the truth of the matter is that there's always constraints. And then like that, at the same time, though, your jokes still have to be creative. I'm be honest. I love Dave Chappelle. He's one of my favorite comedians. But his last special was not one of his best. Because it's got to be funny.
So you think it just wasn't funny? What Chris Rock said wasn't funny?
What Chris Rock said wasn't that funny because you had to know who G.I. First of all, you had to know who G.I. Jane was. And then secondly, like the hit was like low brow. He could have hit, a little bit higher. Like the first joke he said, even the first joke he said was kind of a little bit corny, which I think was kind of the reason why, because you've heard that joke before. Well, one person can't win, both people gotta win. Right. But I've heard jokes against Will Smith. Will Smith was in the roast. They said, what was it? A comedian said Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith are gonna have another kid and name him Oscar because that's the only way he's gonna get one. And that was a hard joke. They're like, oh, but it was a good one. And Will laughed.
Yeah, you gotta laugh.
And also, remember this, Regina Hall, one of the hosts, she cracked on their open marriage and both of them was sitting over there laughing.
Both of them was laughing.
And people saying, now, how are you going to laugh at Regina Hall? But then when Chris come out there and say what he said, all of a sudden you get mad.
Will laughed.
Will did laugh. Then he glanced over and saw her reaction. And then all that stuff just came to him at once, like, oh.
That's the one part I gotta say this. That's the toxic part of their relationship.
Hold on.
Because
that's what I want to get into next.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
So I know you got a relationship topic, Mel. It has something to do with what happened with Will Smith and Chris Rock. So yeah, go ahead and get into it, man. Let's talk about it.
Okay. So my question to y'all is everybody say, a man should defend his wife or defend his woman and this and that. So y'all see what Will decided to do. So I mean, is that the correct way to defend your woman? And if not, what do y'all feel like defending? Let me just ask this: what do y'all feel like defending your woman is?
I think it depends on the situation. So every situation determines the response. So if a man touches my woman, then we gotta lay hands. Because I'll pray for him afterwards. I'll ask for forgiveness. But you ain't gonna put your hands on my wife. Right. So there's defending women, and then there's this toxicity that men have to feel the need that they have to defend their woman. And it's the deal, like, it would have been different if Jada got up and smacked Chris than if Will did. How many people would have been mad at Jada? They wouldn't have said. A lot of people would have called Will a punk. No. I don't think anybody would call Will a punk. I think if Jada got up and she went, bam, don't be talking about my hair, everybody would have been fine. They would have been like, I can't believe she did that. And of course, some people would say, well, that's assault and stuff like that. It would have been still more acceptable for Jada to get up and do that than for Will to do it. Because one, it could have easily been said, because I've heard people say this, sometimes when men get up and do those things, you take away a woman's agency. Act like she can't do it for herself. Jada could have spoke up for herself the entire time. Will thought it was funny. And Will could have consoled Jada and be like, I'm sorry. And at the same time, because the joke was verbal, Will could have also responded in a verbal manner to defend his wife. She could have got up there, slapped him, and said, you know what, baby, I'm behind you 110%. Because I know sometimes, and he could have made the exact same speech. And everybody would love Jada for it. Everybody would love Jada. Everybody would love Will for supporting his wife. Because in today's age, you can be independent. I think there's toxicity in both femininity and masculinity, that we feel the need that we have to get up there and protect our woman's feelings from a joke or a situation. And we have to respond physically to something that happened emotionally. And I think it's a problem if a woman pushes a man and makes him feel inadequate if he does not have that visceral response. And as one of my biggest pet peeves is I hate for a woman to define what a man is based upon what they think we ought to do. In fact, I told my wife that some years ago, we had an incident and she had got mad at me and she was like a real man would have done this. And I said, how do you know what a real man would have done?
Right.
You ain't never been a real man. So you can't tell me as your husband that does all these other things what a real man would do. And so I'm not going to let a woman define my masculinity by what I do and don't do. I am going to be the definer of what masculinity means for me.
Do y'all remember in the Tyler Perry movie, it was I think Temptation.
Mm-hmm.
And in the part of that movie where they're walking from the movies to their car, and there was a couple of guys that was on the side, and they start whistling at her and saying some vulgar things to her, and she gets mad, and she was like, she's like, she's yelling and arguing back and with him. He like gets her and puts her in the truck and closes the door, and he gets in and drives off. He just ignores him. And she's like, why you didn't do anything? They were talking about me. Why you didn't speak up for me? And he was like, I don't know them people. He said, you don't know what they got. They could have had a gun and they could have, anything could have happened. Right. And so and that's the whole thing. And she was calling him weak because he didn't do anything. But let's just say, had he done something and they whooped him or killed him, now you without a husband because you thought he was supposed to do something, and when he did something, it ended up getting, it went the wrong way,
Yeah.
So and that happens a lot, especially and just in any community where you just feel like you have to retaliate, but then you don't be thinking, now what if they got a gun or if they got boys and I get jumped and it's just me? I mean, you have to think about those certain type of things because you want to live, and there's other ways to get back at somebody. It is other ways things can be done. You gotta use discretion, and you gotta be smart.
Will Smith could have slapped him behind stage.
That's another thought.
Let it go, babe. I got it, and went behind the stage and slapped him. It still would have got leaked. It still would have got leaked, but it wouldn't have been as big as thing.
It would have got leaked if he would have got up and walked to the back, like I'm waiting for you. The paparazzi, the media would have took Will Smith, went to the back to go whoop Chris Rock, and that would not have happened. They just would have had a conversation. Two things could happen. Chris could have said, "Man, I apologize for what I said. I did not know," or Chris could have easily just said, "Man, F you. I said what I said, and I ain't taking it back." Then Will would have been like, "Okay, then."
That's the reason why I felt like that. I felt like that was more about the pressure of his relationship.
It is.
And that's
why I've also said if Jada would have walked up there and did it, some people would have thought Will was a punk. Because a lot of people think now Jada's the man in the relationship and Will does what she says.
I think the way it is.
No, I honestly think
there are some people that do think like that.
No, I honestly think people probably think that now more because of the fact that Will, they got him on camera, Will laughing, Jada not, then you paying the Chris Rock, then Will has to get up there. So it looks like, some people could say it looks like this. He laughs, he's like, what you want me to do? You want me to go up there? Okay, all right, well, I'll go up there. That's how that looks. So if Will laughs and Jada just gets up there and goes up there and says, he just claps his hands, like, okay. And then he says, I support what you did. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. I don't think it changes the dynamic because either way it goes, Will still looks like the fool. But if Jada does that, now you get to accept your award. You're not taking any flack off of you. You ain't really changed. You ain't changed the energy of everything. And what happened was that her energy changed his energy, and he shifted the whole entire dynamic of the show. Took all the concentration off of everything else, and made it into a situation where now they put him in a fool's position. Too many men go down that aisle trying to prove something to a woman or to the world that I'm a real one. You ain't gonna talk about I'm gonna defend my lady, and he didn't have to.
Or if Will would have just said also what he said, say, man, keep my wife's name out your mouth, without even walking up there. He could have just said that, and then that would have been back and forth, and Will would have said, say, man, this ain't what you want. Keep my wife's name out your mouth. And then he would have went on and did something else. Then once he would have won, and then
Cedric, because Denzel and Tyler would have said the same thing to him. And that statement that was the other thing. The statement that Denzel Washington told him,
you at your highest moment.
That's when the devil comes for you. Everybody was like, yeah.
You can hear everybody say, ooh.
Yeah. That's like when a preacher say something deep and everybody go, that's exactly what that was. Everybody said, ooh. And everybody felt that situation.
But then
so he had the crowd.
I don't know if once Will did his acceptance speech and he said, God has me doing da-da-da. I'm like, dude, you can't really just.
Well, you could tell Will was crying, and
he was.
He wasn't trying to wipe his tears, anything like that. You can tell he was under a lot of pressure, and some of it may have been, I don't know. I haven't seen King Richard. I've heard people talk about it and how intense I guess the role is. That Venus and Serena's dad, how he had to protect the girls,
right,
from like media and just different things growing up. Right. So maybe Will. I mean, I'll give him the benefit of that. Maybe he went in character, to the Oscars. Maybe character just kind of kicked in when he saw that Jada was unhappy with what Chris Rock said. And maybe things came to his head, and he maybe a switch just went off,
But remember
he handled it that way. He could have done it a lot better.
Right.
Maybe you could tell the way his speech was. He had a lot of stuff on him,
and it just let out. But then remember what he said. He said he had to fight for Angela Ellis, the woman that played his wife, and he had to fight and protect the little girl that played Venus and Serena.
And I get that. You feel he felt
I got that.
And he had to, fight and protect these girls and these women in his life. And you can see when he was sitting there, he was surrounded by a bunch of women. Strong women, good actors, women, women in the movie industry. So maybe he just felt at that moment when Jada was unhappy, maybe the switch just went off. Oh, now I need to, go and protect him, protective mode. And he just took it too far, and shouldn't have done it that way. I think I think he may. I don't know if they're in canceling right now, but they probably need to get some type of.
It wouldn't hurt.
Some type of help.
Probably in something. We're gonna hear a little bit more about it and stuff like that. It's gonna be a red table talk. We might as well just go ahead and get ready for it.
Hey, Oprah might be the one that does the interview.
Yeah.
And see, and we are, and everybody talking about Will and Jada, and ain't nobody said nothing about Chris.
That's who I think Oprah should interview. If Oprah interview is gonna be Chris. It's gonna be because Will and Jada gonna put on a red table. Mainly because of the fact that that's their platform, so they're gonna do that. They got their area, they're gonna air it out, red table talk about everything, what Will was thinking, why
they might have Ilana Van Zandt to join them,
something like that. They
like
have somebody come in, whatever, you know, because you feel like another Van Zandt would be like, Will, you knew you was wrong. Like she'll fuss at him. And
you know what Ilana's gonna say? She gonna say stuff. Oh, beloved, go lay in the grass, beloved. Let the earth drown you, beloved.
So you know,
have to be laughing.
So it's gonna be a thing, and Chris Rock is gonna do his special. And right before his special come out, he gonna sit down with Oprah Winfrey.
Or somebody big.
He's gonna talk about his special.
It's gonna blow up.
Chris Rock is definitely gonna capitalize on that.
Oh my God, Netflix! He better renegotiate that deal with Netflix because that's gonna be everybody is waiting to see this Chris Rock special.
Yes.
Right, and it's like finally he talks about it.
Right.
And then you know he's gonna talk about because I can tell his mind had some more jokes in his head. He's just like, I'm good.
But just remember, also they said in rehearsal he didn't even do that joke. But who was it? Steve Harvey said. No, Ricky Smiley said comedians. He said, yeah, you might be in rehearsal and do one thing, but when you in that moment, you get in your mode. He said other stuff are just coming in. As soon as he saw her, boom, G.I. Jane.
He said it. So that's that.
Yeah.
But I just know one thing: you couldn't walk up on me and just think I'm just gonna let you. No, not.
I don't know.
What's called Shannon Sharp was like, he said Will Smith. He said out of Will Smith, you know what? Shannon Sharp. He's like out of whoop Will Smith, you know what? He said either he'd had to whoop me or I'd had to whoop him. Well, he said
same thing. He said all of Birmingham, Alabama. He said, and then Steve Harvey said that was a Hollywood thing. He said, ain't no way a black man gonna slap another black man and then he just get to walk off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He said,
you know, Chris, the way he looked at him, almost like, is he going, like, is he come back? Like, are you really coming up here? Am I have to do something? You know, but then Will just walks off.
No, I honestly think Chris he's like, wow, I just got slapped by, like Chris Rock is saying it like it's a you know, out of body experience.
He moves on perfectly. Like Chris,
he did handle that.
Definitely professional. That's what I'm saying. I'm more mad because everybody keeps talking about Will, but nobody's really like talking about Chris and how Chris feels.
He handled it well.
When they do talk about it, they just say Chris is wrong for telling a joke, but nobody's actually talking about how that feels, because it's still going to be embarrassing. No matter what, you can't take back the fact that you got slapped on national television.
Yeah, it was like that.
No matter the joke, you got slapped on national television.
Yeah,
but I'm expecting Chris Rock to be like Jamie Foxx did and tell the story of how he felt. Because Jamie Foxx talked about when LL Cool J hit him. He said LL Cool J hit me so hard he knocked me into another movie. I woke up, I be John Coffey. So I'm expecting that level.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see it.
Jokes are coming, man. I know they're coming. I think all the comedians are loading up. Well, they're gonna go in. Mm-hmm. But I think they all trying to capitalize. They want some money before they start talking about it.
Yeah,
right.
Especially Chris, man. He need to get paid for that for sure. Yeah. I think they'll both capitalize on it. It wasn't the best moment, you know. but hopefully some good will come out of it, and Will can grow from it, you know.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, man, do y'all got anything else? I think we kind of pretty much hit everything that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, we ran out some time tonight.
Yeah, we did. Well, we hadn't did it in a while, but also don't forget everybody. The Emmett Till anti-lynching bill was finally signed into law after 200 attempts in 100 years. We finally got a lynching bill.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you guys for watching BMB. Tell it like it is. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. You guys joining us. Brent, go ahead and get everybody the social media platforms to follow us on, and then I'm going to let the Reverend take us out, pray us out tonight. After you do that, Brent, and then we'll be done.
All right, everybody. We hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Hope you enjoyed when you hear it on any podcast platform that you may listen to it, because we're on all of them. We're on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Google, and we're also we have a national radio station called BMB Soul Radio, where you can hear the very best of 70s, 80s, 90s R&B, New Jack Swing, gospel, smooth jazz, funk, and hip hop. Just the very best in those types of genres of music. But all go to our website, www.bmbempower.com, where you can see how to follow us on Instagram, BMB Empower 3, Twitter, BMB Empower, Facebook, BMB Tell It Like It Is. Please go on our pages and support on what we're doing. And if you feel led to, support us financially by going to our Cash App, BMB Empower 3, on $ BMB Empower 3. Our Cash App on Cash App. So we need the support on what we're doing and what we're trying to do, and we would greatly appreciate it. But just make sure you go to our website where you can get everything at www.bmbempower.com.
All right. Let's go ahead and pray out.
All right.
All right. God, we thank you for the day. We thank you for this opportunity that we've gotten together and to have a fellowship together. God, we thank you for every person that's tuning in, Father. We just ask your blessings upon us. We ask for continued growth as men and people of God. Help us to be better. Help us to learn, grow, and be better individuals, God. God, we ask that you continue to bless us and hide us behind your throne, that people see the Christ in us, God. God, the sick people see your daughter, son, Jesus. God, we thank you for everything that you've done, everything that you'll continue to do. In daughter, son, Jesus' name, we do pray and say amen.
Amen. And don't forget the 5 fingers to the face.